Hi, everybody.
Hi, we're back at Carbone's kitchen in Bloomfield.
It's Mara and Sheila, and we are lucky because we have our special intern, Meredith, who is getting her master's in library science and is here to help us two old ladies. And before we start, can everybody hear us and see us okay? That's what we need to know. If anybody can't hear us or see us, please put it in the chat for us, because we want to make sure everybody can hear us and see us. And before we get going, I just am quickly going to tell you of a few events, other wonderful Bloomfield Public Library events. We are doing gentle yoga with Pia Oliveri. It is every Wednesday at 11:30. She is phenomenal. We are going all the way until December 29th. Please sign up. It is virtual Zoom, and she has a really unique take on yoga.
And Mara, how much does it cost?
Oh, it costs absolutely nothing.
It's
Thank you,
free?
Sheila. It's free.
Wow.
Free yoga. It's
Free
gentle
yoga.
yoga, so it can be as hard or easy as you'd like. Sheila and I, if you like us, are going to be doing book discussion on Thursday night. The book, The Good Father, which was really interesting. So interesting that if you have not read the book and just want to come to the discussion, we highly encourage you. It has a lot of topics that are somewhat relevant to today. And last but not least, our wonderful Winterberry Poetry Series is starting up again in October. And we are having 6 poets on the 21st at 7 o'clock. So we would love to have you join us. And again, if anyone is having trouble hearing or seeing, please let us know. And I am going to give it over to Chef Matt and to Paul.
Thank
Get out of the way.
you.
Well, it's nice to be back with you guys again. We're really happy to be doing the, this is Cookbook Corner?
Cookbook Club.
Cookbook Club, sorry. So we thought, Matt and I thought we would do a seasonal twist on a drink and some wines we want to talk about. And that's making a really nice gnocchi dish. We use butternut squash today. And a kind of fall flavor thing. So we're gonna get started. So we thought a really cool twist on a standard drink, which is more of a maybe a summertime drink, is a mojito. But we thought, what can we do to this mojito to make it a little more seasonal? And so we came up with a cranberry mojito, and we're going to make that for you today. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by with some fresh mint leaves. We have lime, we have white rum, we have cranberry juice, and we have agave syrup. You could use a spiced rum for this or a dark rum for this. It definitely will change the complexion of the drink, so you might want to mess around with that just for fun. So we're going to start really simply by just taking some cut up limes, and we're going to muddle those limes with the mint. We talked about muddling last time, remember?
You might want to refresh their
So what
memories.
we're going to do is
Muddling.
take some leaves, some mint leaves, we're going to put them into the dish. And what we talked about last time, that we'll explain this time, is when we muddle, we're trying to extract some of the oils as well as some of the juice from the lime. But you have to be careful when you do this, that you don't overdo it and create a bitterness. So what we're doing is, I think you can see that, we're trying to get some of the juice away. And that's what we're going to get our mint flavor. Then we're going to put some of the flavors in. So next thing I'm going to do is put in, this is agave syrup. I like agave syrup. I like the sweetness level of agave. You could substitute simple syrup, which you can boil sugar and water equal parts till it's liquid, and then you can use that, or you could use honey in this drink if you wanted to as well. So this is a 2-ounce measure on top. I'm going to use about an ounce and a half of the agave syrup. Put that right in. And we're going to boost the lime a little bit with a little fresh squeezed lime juice. Same thing, about half an ounce. That's just gonna boost the wine in the drink. And we're gonna take our, this is a 1.5 ounce pour. This is the rum. Put that in the drink. There you go. So as we now I'm going to set this part up. So this is the service part. So if you think about this drink, you could do this in advance and have it ready to go. So if you were having guests over, you have this already made. You could do this without the muddling and just put the mint leaves in there and increase the amount of the lime juice so that you can have a picture of this made. And then you can pour it when your guests arrive. So we really like that, but you can do it ahead of time. So I'm going to put ice in a glass, about 2/3 full. I'll put fresh cranberries in there. And the cranberries really are just going to add a garnish. They're not really going to give us any kind of a flavor, but they're going to look great. So then we're going to take a regular martini strainer and strain it. So that's the rum mix with the lime and the simple syrup. And then we're going to top it off with cranberries. So that's really cool looking. You can serve it like that. I'd like a stir in there. Oh, I love it. Do like a little stir in there. So you can see how that would work. So if your guests are coming over, you have your ice on the table, you have your mix already made, and you're making the cocktails as you go. Then we're gonna get a little fancy for it. We're gonna garnish this one up. There. Little spray down there for that's a pretty good drink. So there you go. So holiday cranberry mojito, very very fitting, very apropos for the holiday, and super easy. And change it as you wish. You could add. I was thinking of things that we could put in this, like changing them. You could add a little orange to that, like a contra or some kind of liqueur. You could add a palm liqueur to that. So you could do a few things. But remember, the recipes that we give you are subjective to your taste. So you can change all this stuff. You don't have to, these ounce measurements. You like it a little sweeter, put a little more in your agave in, or go with the raw sugar when you muddle. So this is just an idea for you to try. These are fun. These are really tasty drinks. So there you go. That's our drink. So holiday cranberry mojito. Next, we're gonna have Matthew, Chef Matt, is gonna maybe squash it up. Well, actually, make milk. Come on. There you go. So let's do that. Let's walk around and get ready to make that. So, butternut squash, seasonally available. It's a great holiday flavor. When you're turkeyed out, when you're hammed out, when you're roast beefed out, this is a great dish. I think you guys are gonna like it. It's not overly complex, so that's gonna give us the ingredients.
So we got pure garnet squash, already roasted. It's about a cup. So roast for about an hour or so. Face up and face down. I did face down because it tends to get a skin over the top and it's a little hard to work with. This is 2 eggs. Beaten. You want it to evenly disperse throughout the dough, so you gotta mix it up first. It's 2.5 cups of flour. All-purpose flour works best. I have a little nutmeg and some salt. So about a teaspoon of each. What I really like to do is make it a little cleaner. Is mix everything in a bowl first.
So you say stir it with your eggs up first? Yeah. So this is like, you don't put the volcano on the table thing where you got the eggs in the middle.
You could if you wanted to, but this is just a little more manageable.
Yeah. That was not big of a salt.
Not big.
Yeah. So you're going in with all-purpose flour.
All-purpose.
So for all the pasta makers out there, you can change that flour. You can mix that flour with different things. You can add semolina to that. You can. So Matt, there's traditional gnocchi is potato.
Yeah, so baked or boiled potatoes. traditionally how you make it. Same, you put nutmeg normally in there as well.
So if you were to take this and say you wanted a potato gnocchi, you would mix the butternut and the potato together?
If you want it, no, traditionally, if you want to leave out, just do a potato gnocchi.
Oh, okay,
So
so
you just do the potato and all the same thing.
Yep. Yep. So
But,
basically the same thing as, this is a potato gnocchi with a potato substitute for butternut squash.
right,
Could you do this with sweet potatoes?
you could, and it's probably actually a little easier to do it that way because there's more starch.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, the flavor would be almost, comparable to.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. Could you do rice flour on this and do it called gluten free?
I think you could.
Do you think it would bite? So that's one we're gonna
So
try.
that's actually
We'll come back at you with
You
that.
know what, if you had sweet potato, I think. it would.
Yeah.
Squash, I'm not so sure.
So
because
we're
there's
looking
no
for-
starch.
Yeah, we're looking for starch content, so we're looking for it to hold together.
So you just gotta knead it, just like you would any other pasta dough. There's a little extra flour here because it gets real sticky because squash is pretty
So-
wet.
Basically, you're just mixing it until it gets incorporated into a dough, and then you're putting it on the bench, and you're gonna add more flour to get. Okay.
So you just pull it in and press the heel.
And that gets you this one, and that's a rested product.
Yeah, so after you knead it into, it'll start to bounce back.
Yeah.
Just like any other pasta or any dough that you would need. Well, let it rest probably for about an hour. Put it in the fridge, get a little colder, probably become a little more firm.
So now you're gonna make gnocchi. So we made the dough, we let the dough rest for an hour or so, refrigerated it.
Yep.
Okay. So now you're actually gonna make the gnocchi.
Yeah, so really the process is just cut off a chunk of as much flour as you can in your hands.
So at this point, like we say in pizza making, flour is your friend.
Right.
You can't really overdo it with the flour.
The only hard thing is that if you get too much on here, it starts to slip when you try to roll it.
Yeah.
So you want to get some on the dough itself, and some on your hands. That makes this part a little easier. So really, it's just you want to roll it back and forth, a little pressure, a little bit of pressure. I mean, it's you could beat on it. It works pretty good. But
That's pretty tough.
yeah, so
Yeah.
but it'll bounce back to where you need it. You want to just roll it into a roll.
Roll, yeah. Roll, yeah. I was thinking tube, tube's bad. No, that's not tube. It's roll. There you go.
So I like probably like a quarter-inch thick or
Yep.
so.
Yep. So about the thickness, say you're like your thumb?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
an average person's thumb.
My thumb. So about the width of my thumb.
So. Just say about an inch or so.
Okay.
Chop pieces, you can use a knife, this is a little easier. Because the house you clean up the table.
And that's called a bench scraper. I'm sure that's the official name, right? Okay. So there's your basic shape.
So at home, you can use a fork, or if you have an open fork.
Okay.
So you
Well,
just,
people are having a little trouble here in
Flour.
check mats, so we're gonna
Okay.
try and go lower, closer.
you want the cut side facing out to get the right shape. So you want to press down, then just roll it off forward to get the grooves on it.
So I'm gonna say that again. You want the cut side facing away from you?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna make.
This is technique now. This is the hardest part of the whole process. The dough is simple.
The
Right?
reason why this is hard too with this is that sticky. So you want to get enough flour on here that doesn't stick.
Okay.
So you push down. So you kind of want to stick it like you're sticking it to it, and then
Yeah.
you're rolling it off.
And when you roll it off, I'm gonna grab that if you don't mind. That's what gets you those lines. I just squished it a little bit, but that's what gets you the lines. And that's the traditional gnocchi right there.
Now the fork, it's really the same thing. You just put flour on it. And again, you just press it on and just roll it off.
So
It's a
same
little
thing.
wider.
Yeah.
It sticks a little more because it's not as tight with the grooves on it. It's basically the same thing.
So basically, you're recommending the gnocchi board
Yeah,
over the fork.
I mean, you could just not roll them too, but it's not as fun.
I'm saying, next Pampered Chef party, there you go. You know, now you know what you're gonna get. Great, let's go cook them. All right, so that was pretty easy. I gotta tell you, that's not very complex. So you're gonna cut off those pieces, you're gonna put it into a rope.
And you can use you can really use any vegetable you want. You can use spinach, which you would need probably more flour because it's way more moisture.
But say it's probably more about the moisture content than it is about the consistency of the vegetable. In other words, you don't want a lot of moisture in there.
No, you don't. And you want, more starch if you can.
Yeah.
Other squashes you can use to have more starch content. There's sweet potatoes, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
You can mix potato in with the squash and make it a little easier.
How about cheese and things like that, like ricotta or Parmesan cheese? You can make that part of the dough.
You can actually make healthy out of it. You got flour, an egg, and put the way softer. So you don't necessarily roll out, you can just scoop them. Yeah, they don't more dumpling style, but they're way lighter.
Way like that. So the whole point of the gnocchis is it's eating a dream. In other words, it's not heavy. They're very light, but they hold the sauce. So it's a great vehicle to get the flavors of your dish incorporated around a pasta generally, because this basically is pasta. Very neat, very cool. I love the thumb technique. You're just making it look a lot easier than it really is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done this a few times, but
So there isn't a learning curve. There is a little element of practice to it, but I think it's just a touch thing. But the neat part is to do the cut side forward. That's a great tip.
yeah, because you turn sideways, kind of just
Yeah, it doesn't
it
want
looks
to do
more
it.
square.
It
than
won't
round.
catch. Yeah. So that's the little inside tip. That's the thing to make it easy. And when you really get rolling, it's fantastic. All right. That looks great. So let's go make a dish.
All right.
Well, give us a little idea of what we're gonna do, only because the sound.
So we're gonna go on the other side. Matt has prepared some ingredients to make the gnocchi dish, and that's gonna be, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, that's gonna be sausage.
Yep.
So we have sausage, broccoli rabe, and mushroom,
Some tomatoes, cherry tomatoes too.
and some cherry tomatoes, and you're gonna do that in a sage brown butter.
Oh, it's a little orange in it.
So an orange sage
Yeah.
brown butter sauce. That sounds great. Okay, that sounds very seasonal too. Are we gonna sprinkle cranberries on that? All right, so Matt is gonna go over. He's gonna set up for our gnocchi dish. So one quick question before we go though. After you have these made, they go right in the water. You let them sit.
So actually, probably the best way to do it is to freeze them. Because now they can be frozen, you probably hold them for a month or two before they go
Yeah.
bad, but they're way easier to handle. And they cook almost in the same amount of time. So
In your preparation, if you had time, even if you were to use them that day, you would freeze them first.
I'd probably freeze them first. They're nice fresh, but they're pretty much the same product frozen, and you don't have to worry about them sticking together. You don't have to
Yeah.
worry about crushing them.
Yep.
You just put them in the freezer.
And I see your logo
Just
with
like
the
this.
flour on the sheet too. So okay. So for homework, we're gonna try this with rice flour. The next time we do this, we'll get back down that. We're gonna try that. Very good. All right.
You could do it with rice flour,
I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool to try it.
because I'm gluten free.
So-
I love gnocchi, but I can't eat it normally because it's always made with the regular flour. So I was wondering.
One thing that
Rice
we're constantly doing at Carbone's Kitchen at Fine is trying to find gluten-free ways of incorporating gluten-free, like our eggplant parm is gluten-free.
Oh,
So we have gluten-free pizzas, we have gluten-free eggplant parm, so we're always looking for, Matt and I were getting into bread baking a while back, and that was real, can you make a bread with the rice flour or alternative flour? So we've been playing around a lot with that, and it just crossed my mind while we was doing this, and that's one we could try.
yeah.
So while Matt goes over.
Do gluten free gnocchi, I will come and eat.
Okay,
I
all right, so we'll continue that process.
Okay.
We're gonna work hard for that. So Matt's gonna go over and prepare the gnocchi to get set. We're gonna join him in a second. But before we do, I just wanted to give you a quick little talk on a couple of ones. I asked Tom Taylor who is one of our wine distributors and probably the foremost, around me, the foremost knowledgeable wine guy that I know. And I said, Tom, if you were gonna go, out and find 2 safety wines, give me 2 wines that, you don't know what you're eating, you don't know what the menu's gonna be, you don't know, but you gotta pick a wine. And I need a wine that's a well-rounded wine that's gonna go with a lot of different things. And he picked 2, and guess what? They just happen to be on our wine list. So both these wines are served here at Carbone's Kitchen. We have by the bottle, we have by the glass. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because during the holiday season, we see a lot of entertaining, we see a lot of groups coming in, and I think people are still a little intimidated by wine. And it's a great accompaniment to the meal. It's such a great addition where pairing bourbons is very trendy now, pairing beers is very trendy now. Wine will never go away. It's one of those easy things to do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we picked 2, I call them safety wines. He called them broad wines. And he liked the St. Francis Chardonnay. This is Chardonnay. So this is a California Chardonnay, Sonoma wine. The interesting thing about this wine is they pick the grapes at night to preserve freshness. I guess it's a non-sun thing, which is I didn't know. It even says it on the bottle. It's very interesting. Why he picked this wine is that this wine, as a Chardonnay, even though it is a Chardonnay, you would imagine it to be very lightly flavored. There's a little bit of acid to this one, and acid is what you want while you're eating to spark those flavors of the food or to counteract the flavors of the food. And this wine goes very well with lighter dishes, fish dishes, white sauces, things like that. Things that you would normally assume that a white wine would go with. But this is also a great pairing for, we were talking about pizza. We have a Pear and Gorgonzola pizza on that menu, and it's absolutely delicious. And this wine would be killer. This one would be great. So I wanted to give that one to you. That's on our wine list. It's available here by the bottle and the glass. The red wine he picked is a personal favorite of mine. This is a Zaccanini. This is a Montepulciano Bruzzi. I think that's it. Anyways, it's an Italian wine. It's from the Abruzzo region of Italy. That is a coastal region. It gives the grape a real fruity tone, but like dark fruits, like plum and red grape and things like that. It has a real smooth, easy quality. When I say easy, I mean it's drinkable. You can just pour yourself a glass of this. We're actually going to do that because it's just a wine you can just pour a glass and drink. It's very, very, very drinkable as just having a glass of wine. What is fun about that, though, is as you're serving dinner, and then as you're serving dinner, so you're going to have a roast beef, or you're going to have a turkey, or you're going to have something that's got a little bit of body to it. It's got some, a stronger tasting proteins, I would say. So I wouldn't, not like fish, although you could serve that with fish. That'd be great with scallops. So you see where I'm going. So the heavier or the more full flavors, this wine stands up to it. So, and it's delicious wine. It's totally drinkable just to have this once in a while. So I love this one. This is one of my personal favorites. I love Italian wines. I'm a little biased. But so once again, on our menu here at Carbone's Kitchen, available by the bottle, available by the glass. So next time you guys come in and you feel a little brave and you order the pizza anyways, try a white wine with it. And that's the one you're going to do, St. Francis Chardonnay. Okay? Matt looks like he's ready to go on the other side. So we're going to walk over and we're going to watch him make this gnocchi dish.
start.
Sorry about that.
This is pretty quick. So, like we said out there, if you cook the sausage, just I'm making butter sauce, I'll put grease in there, so it's just better off if you put it ahead of time. If you weren't doing the butter sauce, you could use the sauce, you can make the sauce out of it. So, since it's so quick, just gonna start with
So 4 or 5 minutes to cook on the gnocchi. Okay. And you're saying that you're gonna be careful with the oil because you're making the butter sauce. So you pre-cook the sausage. And you drain some of that oil off, or you got okay. Okay. So we pre-cook the sausage to get the oil to drain it. So that we don't want, because we're making a brown butter sauce. We don't want it to be greasy. So the gnocchis are in the water. We're looking at about 4 to 5 minutes on those. Preheat this pan.
What's gonna happen is when it starts to brown, the milk solids are gonna start to cook away as long as you're that way. So not really gonna have that much milk. It's gonna be there. It looks like
Yeah. So we're going in with the butter first. It looked like your pan was like a medium heat because they were really that.
if it's too hot, I'll grab water.
Yeah.
Right off the red.
So we'll keep the pan at about medium heat. You see that? That's a sage leaf and some orange rind.
Yeah, just peel off the water.
Okay.
Water close.
So you're gonna go right now. You're gonna go to the brown stage. And you can start to see it just starting to brown around the edge. So the butter solids is what is browning, and the water's evaporating out of it. So if you just try to keep from the rip, this would burn, or if you cook it long enough, eventually it would burn. You're taking it off at a pretty good color right now. Yeah.
The key now is to stop it cooking. So it's something that chicken stock. Anything you want. Depending on what you're making.
So bringing the butter to the dark brown, then we're gonna stop the cooking. You added, that was chicken stock. This is orange juice you added in. One orange squeeze, and obviously, fresh squeeze is better if you can do it. This is chopped broccoli rabe. So salt, pepper. So because you're cooking it in a liquid like that, there's really no need for you to blanch. Is blanching an option to make it less bitter? If you were to. So
you can have bigger chunks, like probably kind of small.
yeah,
You want bigger pieces.
blanch. Yeah, blanch. Okay.
Portobellos on hand.
So those are portobellos. And so one thing I'm noticing is everything that you chopped up is roughly the same size as the gnocchi. Is that what you're shooting for?
Yeah. Vegetables, just so you kind of cook the same way.
Yep.
Just the presentation too, right?
We just took a look at the gnocchi, so probably about halfway there. Yep. So then we're reaching over for these are sweet 100s, I think, or cherries, or whatever you call them. So cherry tomatoes, raw, just chuck them in like that. The idea is this is not a tomato sauce. You're just going to wilt those tomatoes down into the sauce. Yeah. So once you get texture, flavor, all work at the same time. Still holding on medium heat. Sausage goes in, pre-cooked sauce with a little bit of oil. Yep. There's a little flavor there, but you're pretty much feeling safe now because you got your butter, So once you butter and you get the stock in there, and it goes to a regular cooking liquid, you're pretty much feeling like you're there.
Cool part, because you just took straight grease and made the sauce out of it. Great.
It would break, which means it would separate. You would see it separated.
Now, since there's some liquid back in there, chicken stock and all sorts, we had the whole butter to it and something kind of. That's how you can go small sauce. Finish the sauce. And stir the butter. A little cream until it helps it kind of bind together.
Beautiful. Yeah. So that's work. So basically, the raw butter and the cream are the liaison, and you're just going to incorporate that to make the sauce. So real classic cooking technique on this. Very, very, very classic technique. I think it's how you do it in French, man. Here come the gnocchis. They look great. And even a little bit of the water is okay in there too. Yeah, a little starch out of the water. That's a restaurant trick. Look at that. That is fantastic.
That's a little thin. Put some Romano cheese.
That's grated Romano cheese. That's a good looking gnocchi. So we just made the gnocchis across the way. That was fantastic.
Scale this up, make the gnocchis ahead of time, freeze them.
Sure.
Put together. Like 10 minutes, I'll put it out.
So this is without a ton of work. I mean, if you plan accordingly without a ton of work, this is definitely a substantial dish you can serve as an entree. It could be a course. It could be a pasta course before dinner. You could do a vegetarian by leaving the sausage out. Obviously, that works. The butter and the cream, it's pretty much hard to do without that. But yeah, I thought that'd be great. Maybe with some fish. Yeah, for plain fish, sure. That's great. And it's Christmas colors. You don't need to put cranberries on. That's fantastic. Let's play. So you got candied pistachios, but you could put any toasted nut on there. You could put bacon bits on there. You could do anything you want. Got some sage leaves on there.
Oh, is this on your menu?
This is not on our menu. Should be though, huh?
Yeah.
So we usually like to do a homemade pasta for specials on the weekend. So you would see this dish on our menu as a special.
Okay.
And that's great. You could do pine nuts on this. I'm just thinking of all the fun things you could throw on top of this. Toasted papitas, yeah, that's great. So I mean, what a versatile dish. So once again, back to you all with the recipe. So you saw the way Matt added the things he added in the order, but you could do chicken, you could do shrimp, you could do without the tomatoes, you could do this with asparagus, you could do it with spinach. I love the contrast on the vegetables, the red and the green. So I mean, think about it. You could take roasted butternut squash and sprinkle that in there, right? So this is a great vehicle for seasonal flavors. So we could have done this in the spring just as easy, but I love this with the winter. So the butternut squash gnocchi with winter type vegetables. Fantastic. Fantastic. What a nice dish. Fried onions. That'd be good too. So I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So great dish, Matt. That looks awesome. That looks awesome.
Oh, they were asking.
Yeah, if you wanna go-
Yeah,
great. Great. And they can see them when they come to the restaurant. They're both on
True.
they're
Well,
both on
I
the
took
line.
pictures and I'm gonna add it tomorrow to the program.
Speaking of the restaurant and speaking of holidays, I got to do a couple plugs.
All right.
Oh, wait, let's not.
Oh, yeah, can we go into the other room? Are we
Sure,
done?
let's
Okay.
walk back.
Okay.
So we're back at the bar. Imagine that. So I gotta tell you, that was a good dish. I mean, I like the last one we did. I don't really remember what we did last time, but I really like that dish just made. And I wasn't hungry when we started, but admittedly so, I am now.
Can you, we had a request, can you quickly go over again the ingredients that were in the dish you just made?
Sure,
You know, sort of the recipe for people, because some people are having a little trouble hearing.
sure.
And then people wanted a little more info on the wines.
Okay.
All right, so I had, obviously I had butter, sage, orange rind. And that's how I started. Just cook that up, brown the butter. And then I added the chicken stock and the orange juice to stop the cooking of the butter. And then from there, I added all the vegetables. So the broccoli rabe first, kind of get it cooking and blanch. The mushrooms, because they have a lot of water, so kind of cook it out. And the tomatoes and the sausage last, because they take the least amount of cooking, because the sausage was pre-cooked, so it wasn't too greasy. And I added the butter and the cream to kind of finish the sauce, to stir it together, the gnocchi and the Parmesan cheese to finish it and bring it all together.
Delicious. It was awesome. It's very good.
It looks really good.
I'm practicing for my stomach.
Oh, okay. That drink was really good too,
So
I
I'm gonna
have to
make it
say.
over so you guys can try it.
I took a sip of that
Oh,
one,
good,
so
good.
I can't drink that on
So
top of
the
the water.
whole, that dish, I'm gonna go back and get that dish. So the butter went in the pan first on medium heat. Yeah. And you put in the sage leaf, and then you put in the orange rind, or zest, right? And then so, I'm gonna say this again, you browned it, but you didn't burn it. Right. So medium heat till it's good and dark brown.
Dark brown, not burnt. You'll be able to tell the difference because you'll get burnt pieces in there, but it'll also start smoking.
Yeah.
Just looking
So
more black
burnt is
and brown.
burnt, exactly. So in culinary school, we used to say burnt, brown is brown, but burnt is burnt. So you don't want to burn it. And that's the most important part of that dish, is the flavor, the nuttiness, and the real benefit of that dish is the brown butter, right? Because that sauce looks great. So
And you could stop it a little earlier if you didn't want to risk burning it. You wouldn't get as strong of a flavor, but it still works good.
yeah, I thought that was great. So it's a really nice dish. So as I'm making another drink, couple of things we want to talk about the restaurant, and then we'll get to the wines again too, which you're not here anymore.
Oh, I'll bring them back.
It's fine. So a couple things. So the restaurant is booking for holidays. We have private rooms available here. We have private rooms available at our sister restaurant in Rocky Hill. It's called Prime. It's right on West Street, Rocky Hill. And as the holiday season comes through, we are doing meals to go. We have a whole market menu available for takeout. Call the restaurants to place orders and to ask questions. There'll be someone there that can take your questions and answer your questions. We also do, this time of year, we also do our gift card promotion, which is if you buy $500 worth of gift cards, you get $100 in gift cards free. So it's a great deal. We've always had a real good response to that. And we just nuts about getting a gift.
When does that start? Well,
So I'm not 100% on that, but I would expect it by the end of October. So maybe by the first week of November.
okay.
And
Great for Christmas. Yes.
if you call the restaurants, they can answer. I just asked if we were doing it this morning. I wasn't sure of the starting. So
And Hanukkah is early this year, so you might want to start early.
there you go. Exactly, right? So yeah, great. It's going to be a great holiday season. I know everyone is, we've been cooped up for a little while.
Yeah.
2 years to be exact. So we're looking forward to this season. The restaurants are doing nicely. It's good to see all our people coming back. Just great to be. Yeah, glad that we're still here for you. I mean, chance. So I'm really happy that we're still here for you. So, thank you for drinking, so the wines. So let's talk about those wines.
No, and I brought the wines back.
Okay.
So.
So
Behind you.
I will tell you once again, the easiest way to get a hold of those wines is coming to this restaurant. Because that's where they are. I've got both on our wine list. They're reasonably priced. They're not high-end. They're not high-end wines, but they taste like high-end wines. That's what I like about them. Is the quality of these grapes, the quality of this wine is what's so nice about these wines. Is I am not going to tell you what they are. The menu doesn't matter. What matters is that you order that wine. Look at that. Honestly,
Gorgeous.
I'm not a bartender,
Beautiful.
so just so you know.
I know
This
you
is
did a
hobby.
really good
I'm a
job.
hobbyist.
No, but you have to put your lime slice on.
Oh, absolutely.
Make it nice.
For not being a bartender, you do a
I know
great
you do
job.
a wonderful job.
Beautiful.
I still remember
job.
that drink from before. I
know
knew it. Remember, you know, that was all it
I took me a
was.
minute to remember what it was. But that's good. Very good. So, let's talking about the wines. The Chardonnay is white wines can be tough. White wines can be real. They can be way too acidic. They can be way too watery or bland or nothing to them. This St. Francis Chard has a quality about it that it's neither overpowering or underpowering. So it's right in that zone, and it's strong enough where it's good for food. So it's good with food. If anybody's got a question on the wines specifically,
We do.
let's go ahead and yell them right out, because it's almost easier to
Somebody has their
address the
hand
question.
raised, so we're trying to-
We're raising
This
it.
is a good time for question and answers.
Sure,
'Cause we-
yeah.
Okay.
If you guys are okay with that.
IPH has a question,
So if anybody has a question, you can unmute yourself and ask.
and IPH has his or her hand up.
I don't know who IPH is.
IPH, if you want to ask your question.
Oh, okay. This is Gail, and I live in Rocky Hill.
Hi, Gail.
Carbone's is not on West Street.
Oh, I'm sorry. What street is that?
It's on Route 3 Cromwell Avenue. You take West,
I'm sorry. It's the West
Yeah,
Street
you-
exit, huh?
yes, you take the West Street exit.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's Cromwell Ave. Yep.
Just in case you want to get some customers.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Gail. I
Thank you,
appreciate that.
Gail. Are there any other questions?
Do you still have your food truck operational?
The food truck is operational. We had a wonderful summer with the food truck.
Yeah,
Our second year out there. We have a new truck that we put on the road. I think we got it going in April or May. I can't remember. The interesting thing about our food truck, or the way we're doing, is we have 3 distinct menus that we run off that truck. There's the Paul and Vinny's menus, which is subs, grinders. There's Delilah menu, which is a very well-rounded, like South American, Latino, Mexican style. And then we have Prime Press, which is a burger concept. So we'll run one or two of those menus at the same time. So we actually have a lot of fun with that, and look for us next spring. We'll be back out there with expanded menus and maybe a couple new concepts. So thank you. Yeah, that was it was a good summer for the food truck.
Yeah, we had the Italian. It was very good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a fun one. I mean, we do have one more event. It's actually on our property up at Prime in Rocky Hill on Cromwell Ave. Thank you, Gail. But it's a party. It's open to the public. It's tickets they're available online. If you look us up online, there's details for what that is. It's a night under the stars. Basically, we used to do a cigar social in Hartford, where we would tent off most of the parking lot. We would do an outdoor party under the stars, and we're going to revisit that. We're really excited to get 3 breweries coming up. We have 3 local breweries: Alvarium out of New Britain, Lupoletto out of Windsor Locks, and back east from Bloomfield. And they'll all be up with us that night, featuring their products. We asked them all for an Oktoberfest style beer, and then bring one, whatever you want. So they're going to surprise us with some neat things. All our liquor distributors will be there offering samplings and tastings of different scotches and different things that have been hitting the markets. We will have cigars by I don't know the name of his shop. It's Magic. He is right on Wethersfield Avenue in Hartford, but I actually don't know the name of the shop. So it's going to be an exciting night. We'll be working 2 food trucks. We're going to have pastas and things under the tent. And it's all going for the Hark Foundation. And I believe that's our not our sponsor, that's who we're joining up to do that event. So we're really excited. We're looking forward to that. There's going to be a spa represented there. So some local businesses will be mixed in. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
And what was the date for that again?
October 21st, it's a Thursday evening. I believe we kick off at 5:30. So when it's going to go till it goes. So, so it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully we have a nice night weather-wise for that, because it's all going to be outside. So and the food trucks will be there. So technically we're not done with food trucks till we do that event. So.
Any more questions? No? Oh, you ready? No? Okay, so you're going to send us the recipes.
We will send you the recipes. Yep.
Okay,
Um,
and we will put them up and the video will go up.
yeah, and we'll send you the gnocchi and the sauce separate. So, in other words, the gnocchi will be a recipe to make the dough will be a separate recipe. So
Okay.
it's just one of those neat things where, besides roasting off the squash, and we'll take about an hour in the oven to roast it. So besides roasting the squash, it's not a complex, difficult, you got to let it rise and all this. It's not like that at all. It's an assemble, rest, make gnocchis. You'll be eating in 2 hours. So it's a neat thing to try, even if you've never done it before. If you've never made fresh pasta before, I highly recommend it. It's not hard. You don't need any special equipment. I know we have the cranker, but you can roll that out. So that's a great introduction to fresh pasta. And the board is not necessary, but it's a couple of bucks if you find one in I don't know, where would you find it?
We might even have it at Walmart.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
I know you can find them online, stuff like that. So, and then once you get that one under your belt, you might want to check out a pasta roll or, the same thing. The hand crank machines are not that bad. And making pasta is rewarding, like making bread is rewarding. So the more you want to try, the more you want to change, the more you want to explore. It's very rewarding. It's a lot of fun. And then you get into raviolis and filled pastas, and so it's just like bread. It's almost an endless, variety of things you can do, and it's all fantastic. It's all delicious. And we'll have to get that rice thing.
Right.
Out.
Yes,
So, like
let
I'm
me
hoping
know.
that we got some leftover butternut because I want to try it tomorrow. All right.
We always appreciate you letting us into your kitchen.
I
Thank
tell you
you.
what, you're welcome. We love doing this. I love the fact that we're doing this in Bloomfield, and this is our favorite place in Bloomfield besides the library.
So thank you.
We haven't been around as long as y'all have, but
Your
The
food
plan-
is always
plans to be-
wonderful and we're
Plans
so
to be.
happy. And
well, thank you for
we
having
look
us.
forward to working with you again in the spring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll be back, and we'll dream up some new stuff, and we'll come back and do it again.
All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.